onto the Nerd News Network.
Yes.
We got an interesting one, and I forgot something off the end, but I'll throw that on the end, and then we'll discuss that. First up, The Rock's massive fucking ego, even bigger than his roided muscles, unsurprisingly hurt both Shazam and Black Adam, because there's supposed to be a post-credit scene, or actually maybe even a full-on cameo in Black Adam referencing Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Adam was also supposed to make a cameo at the end of Shazam Fury of the Gods, which could have set up a nice trilogy where they both get to go out and have a fight off together, which is what everyone actually wants, that could be an Elseworlds project and still have got made. But The Rock doesn't want to be tied to Shazam, even though Black Adam literally exists because of Shazam. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Hollywood people wanting to do a superhero film because they know that there is big money to be made if you can associate yourself with a character a la RDJ and Chris Evans, but they don't give a fuck about the character.
Do you know why those
and this
people
is what I said when Black Adam was coming out.
You did. Do you know why RDJ and Chris Evans succeeded at those characters? Because they didn't put their egos ahead of the films that were being made. You're right. Here's the thing. It follows on from what we've just been talking about in Shazam. And it's like, had Shazam Fury of the Gods not so in our face made references to the DCU, and then with the post-credit scene and having Wonder Woman, like if they'd not done any of that and kept Shazam, like stuck with like the first one where it's like, they don't really say it's in the world. It's just like, they're dealing with their own shit. Like if you made no references to DCU, and if Black Adam never made a reference and never had Superman at the end and all that shit, like if you cut all those few little bits out, like you say, Black Adam, the Shazam 2 films, all could have existed in their own little universe had these cameos gone ahead.
Apparently that Superman cameo was originally supposed to be Shazam.
Well, there we go.
So Waller was going to send Shazam in because obviously he's literally like for like, and it's like, he'll stop you if you don't behave. But The Rock's fucking ego's like, no, I want Superman.
But it's like...
And here's the thing,
I said it after Black Adam,
actually surprised by it.
No, and I said it after Black Adam. I was like, having Superman cameo at the end has killed the future of that film. Because this was before we even knew the details of DCU. Like, this was a very early announcement. I was like, Black Adam's future's killed because they've shoved Superman in it. And all we knew about DCU was Henry Cavill wasn't going to be Superman. Like, that had all broken. So, it just means... The Rock's shot himself in the foot, essentially. Yeah. And there's a world where Shazam and Black Adam have their own little thing, ends up existing in Elseworlds. It's a cool little standalone bundle of films. But those characters are now going to be shelved till way down the line when James Gunn's like, oh yeah, maybe I will use those now.
It would have been really cool for Shazam to be handled slightly differently, so that there's no real tie into any universe, so it can be Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Black Adam goes off and does his thing for another film, and then they share a third film, which is Black Adam versus Shazam.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you take out Superman and Wonder Woman from them films, what you're left with is just characters that haven't been seen in any other films.
Exactly.
The only, it's the perfect Elseworlds 5-film little run that people can have a little cult loving for.
I guarantee James Gunn would have done that had they not tried so hard to tie those films into the DCU. They were so concerned about trying to tie them in that it's then killed their future, because at the end of the day, James Gunn's come in and gone, no, you've connected yourself too much to DCU. There's no point in using you. It's too confusing. And yes, hindsight, but for Black Adam and Shazam, where these films have kind of broke after the news, you can't tell me there wasn't enough time to make adjustments to the cuts to make it, to potentially secure a future.
Yeah, if you're a fan of superhero films and want the best for them, you should be
Yeah.
fucking furious with The Rock.
Yeah.
Because his ego has costed you what could have been, which I think in general in comic book movies we need more of anyway. Little arcs that are told separately from everything. Elseworlds, if handled right, is going to make a lot of money and be really fun things for people who like superhero films but don't want to have to commit to 3 films and 3 TV shows a year.
Yeah.
Imagine over the course of 6 years, there is 4 films that are separate from everything else, and they're a little story arc, and you get to just enjoy it.
And it also, like, we get these more obscure characters like Shazam and Black Adam, like that. Especially with the way that DCU's going, quite clearly aren't going to be used anytime soon in that. So it's like, yeah, it's a lost opportunity, unfortunately. And
Big time.
to be honest, it has now meant that The Rock isn't part of it. So, silver lining.
Yeah. But if you're a diehard Marvel fan, take this as a warning. Do not let The Rock anywhere near the MCU. His ego will make things worse, not better.
Yeah, I think Kevin knows better.
Mm-hmm. On to not just Shazam news, but still kind of Shazam news. Shazam's domestic opening was worse than Morbius's. Superhero fatigue is here, folks, and it is here to stay.
So I agree. I think this is down to some superhero fatigue. I think Shazam's also unique in the sense of, like, I keep mentioning it, but it's like people knowing it's like them revealing the TV spot and stuff is like tying it in to DCU. People then are just turning around and go, "Oh, well, I'm not going to watch it because it doesn't mean anything." Like this, people that have followed the DC films know it's resetting. So all these films that are coming out are going to flop because people are like, well, they don't mean anything to a bigger story. It's a character that's not like, it's not Superman or Batman. So like, why am I going to spend the time to go watch it? Also, I don't feel like it had the best promo.
No, they put no money into promoting it really because they knew that it didn't matter.
Yeah, so it's like, I do think there's superhero fatigue, and Marvel and DC need to be more specific with their more specific with their choices of films, and like what they can't just start chucking out film. They need to kind of be more calculated with what they're doing. Otherwise every other one's going to be like a flop because there's too many. Also more, but it's like, hopefully DC puts more effort into their marketing. So for the new stuff that comes out.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the marketing budget that would have gone to Shazam has just been shifted over to The Flash because they think they can still make money on The Flash even though it doesn't matter because it's The Flash, and The Flash is big enough that, like a Batman or a Superman, he can put butts in seats anyway. And they know they have to do something to try and win over people who are on the fence after that Ezra Miller situation.
I would agree. I think it's going to be still a rough period for DC. Marvel's having their struggles, but like I think DC's next few films are still going to be rough for them, and until we are done with DCU and moving on to DCU, and they know this, they're just not going to make that much money off the films. I think Marvel just needs to make sure they don't end up slipping that way either too far, because hopefully they make some. I mean, Kevin said this change is coming, so hopefully those help.
I mean, let's be clear. There's a global recession coming. Films are going to take a hit anyway.
Well, yeah, all entertainment does.
Yeah, but MCU and DC, if they're smart, can be one of the few that survive it because of the long-standing relationship they already have with fans. Just don't screw them over. Don't get me wrong, I know it's not that simple, but it can be that simple.
Yeah, no, it is.
Now time to dunk on Marvel slightly.
Yeah, well, so dunk.
Oh no, I'm going to dunk on them slightly.
Okay, go ahead.
So this reeks. Sorry, I should say what this is. Marvel's head of VFX and other things.
Yeah, it was like props practical effects. Like it was
President
all.
of Physical, Post-Production, VFX, and Animation at Marvel
Yeah.
has stepped down from her role.
Step down.
This is very much a corporate America stepped down. Above a certain pay grade in every company in corporate America, stepping
Around the
down is
world.
just you can leave and we can act like you're just choosing to do something new, or we can fire you. We don't want to fire you because hiring someone who you've had to fire at such a high level never looks good. So we can both get out of this without anyone thinking anyone screwed up, even though everyone knows that the VFX
Well,
and post production has been a big point of contention for Marvel since the pandemic.
it's exactly as you say. This is very much a she's stepped down, but this is like any big corporate job. You get above a pay grade, and it's like you can. We don't want to move forward with you, so you have the opportunity to step away at your own accord. Looks good for both parties. Because at the end of the day, Marvel doesn't want to be seen firing someone. Like that's not
No.
good luck. They don't want to be in the media for that. So quite clearly is that I think anyone who doesn't see that is blind. It's not a surprise. There's more stuff come out of like she apparently was very much to blame for a very toxic environment in the VFX side, at least. Apparently, she would have favoritism. So, like, if you, as this VFX studio or department, screwed up or screwed her, she held that grudge and she would screw you and not give you any, like, she would screw you over on work. So, apparently, that's whether this is true or not, but like, it seems that very
We
much.
knew there was problems with the VFX community's relationship with Marvel.
More and more has been coming out about like pay and different issues and being overworked and stuff. And it seems.
And at the end of the day, if she's the head of that, even if she didn't necessarily make them final decisions, she was in charge of the people who did.
Yeah, and it does seem that a bit more is coming out that she was the central point of these issues, and it doesn't surprise me that after Ant-Man specifically, like Marvel's already been in the grill for like their TV shows VFX, but it's like you partly could let it slide a bit. Like it's TV, they're not going to put the same budget into it. It's like okay, it's still better than most TV VFX.
Yeah, I think Mandalorian for me has really hurt their TV getting
But
away
yeah,
with.
this I think Ant-Man and then with Mando coming out and people being like, oh shit, this is what Disney's putting out on the Star Wars side of TV, kind of showing you up, Marvel. And I think Kevin's probably like rightly so at the top. It's like we're getting too much shit for our VFX and too much bad press. Like I'm sorry, you've had your chance to turn this around now. You're gone. And they're restructuring
and stuff like this doesn't happen quickly.
No, this is definitely
these discussions will have been happening 6 months ago.
Yes, this has been happening ever since it first started, and it's like you've had your chance to fix, like to improve this, and you haven't. Sorry, but you're the problem. You're gone. We are, and I'm hope like this is a lofty hope, but I do hope that this is where Marvel and Disney realize the issue and go, okay, we are going to be better about budgeting VFX better and giving more money towards VFX and realizing that we are not paying up enough and demanding too much for what we're paying for. And hopefully they start realizing that. And if they want the good work, they'll put in they'll put the budget up. I mean, it's Disney, so who fucking knows? But yeah, hopefully they bring in someone who comes from that side of things and respects that side of things so that they know how to fight for the VFX guys on the Disney side of things. Because at the end of the day, you need someone in that role that is on Disney's side. Obviously, they're going to be high, like Disney's got to like them, but you kind of want someone from the VFX post-production side who will bat for them and make sure that the VFX is coming out top level.
100%.
So overall, I mean, for the future of Marvel, I think this is potentially a very good thing. Hopefully, they'll get back to the polish that it once was, that I think they've slipped away from. And we've said this purely from the amount of stuff they're putting out. They're just spreading themselves too thin. So hopefully they get back.
And we know they've got a bit of a plan to scale back the amount they're outputting anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully the scaling back plus the fresh start for the VFX departments might get them back where they want to be.
Hopefully. I mean, we're not going to see it for a film or two because a lot of these films were already like Guardians is like well underway, and I think Secret Invasion we might see some improvement.
Secret Invasion I can't imagine would have as much
yeah, but if we're gonna have people transforming from Skrull to there's a lot of VFX in that sense where they're gonna have to.
I feel like a lot of that, if done correctly, could be makeup on the actor when they're in Skrull form, and then you've just got the CGI really having to do heavy lifting for the transitions, which you can limit to happening off screen with like them panning shots.
Oh yeah, they'll be smart about it, but obviously with it being a TV, it's gonna have a lower budget.
Yeah, exactly. So which is why I think they're going to be smarter about it.
They just hopefully we just start to see some more polish from Marvel.
Yeah. Some gaming news, gaming news. Because in my discussion with ChatGPT the other week, they thought we were a gaming podcast. So we like video games, so yeah, we'll throw little bits in there here and there. And yesterday was a very exciting day for us gamers.
It was a big day.
CS:GO 2, the memeiest game of all time, even though it's actually just CS2, isn't it? There is no.
It is just CS2.
It's coming.
They have announced it. Everyone, there was more and more leaks. There was more and more leaks, and everyone was like, "Well, is this actually true, or is this just like a code word for them doing like an update?"
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yesterday they announced CS2, complete overhaul of essentially the whole game. It's the same game. It's going to be the same map, same everything, but just overhauled on the mechanic side of things.
In reality, if this was a story game, it would be called a remaster. Yes. A ground up remaster.
Yes, it would.
Which I think is probably a fair way to describe it.
Yeah.
But they have added new things, such as the way smokes are going to behave and the such.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's new improvements to certain mechanics. Like we say, smokes.
There's a weird sentiment that it's just the same game, just better graphics. It's like, well, it's not the fucking same game. They've rebuilt it. It's on a new engine.
Also,
new physics.
The people they've focused very heavily on the mechanics, and yeah, the graphics have had an overhaul, but they're not. It's the same maps. They've just kind of cleaned things up. And I saw people being like,
much nicer.
They look way nicer. But I have seen people being like, "Oh, graphics aren't even that much of an improvement." Or it's like, you realize that like the CS devs understand that anybody who plays CS a decent amount will set their graphics to the lowest possible. Like the whole community does it because they want the most FPS.
Yeah, it's a competitive shooter.
They know their community.
And with the way and with the technology they're using for smokes and that's gonna hurt FPS a little bit.
It is.
So I mean, don't get me wrong, Valve are really good at optimizing their games. So I'm sure it won't like destroy it, but it's on a brand new engine as well. It's going to be more intensive to run. So they're going to not make it fucking RTX'd out of its mind with like, I can count all of the granules of sand in this brick.
Well, the thing is, like, they know their community. They know the player base doesn't. They care more for mechanics and tick rate and things like that than they do.
The color saturation's huge. It's nicer to look at just the colors.
It is. But alongside, as CS2 got announced, we got the Unreal Engine State of Unreal. Like, yeah, it was there. They're at GDX or GDC.
EpicCon?
I can't remember what it is. Some con.
There's some event.
They did their presentation and then revealed UE 5.2, the new features.
My God.
Some great features. Like every time they update, come out with new stuff for Unreal, it blows me away. Like especially with Unreal 5, it's been huge steps on the tech side of things.
The craziest thing for me was the landscaping being done in real time.
Yeah, so that's stuff that has. Here's the thing: it's like stuff like that has been around for a while in Unreal. Like you can set up landscaping stuff, but like you have to set it up and set up parameters that you can scroll between. This is a lot more of like, it does a lot more of the legwork for you. Like the big
But
thing
it's
that they
also the
showed,
rendering of it at that speed, basically
well,
in real time.
that's UE5. Like the stuff UE5 can do now in terms of handling assets is just ridiculous. And it's like the impressive thing with this one that they showcased was like having pre-built structures that have determined ways that they'll interact with stuff around them, and it's like it'll figure all that out itself. So it's like
100%.
cutting down time. It's all for Unreal, all their things and tools they bring out is like cutting down time for devs and the artists so that they can get to a spend more time coming up with a final polished version than having to like move individual trees and shit. The other big thing that came from this was we got to see the Fortnite Creative 2.0, which is essentially Unreal Engine Lite. It
Yeah,
is Unreal Engine given to Fortnite kids to go wild with the Fortnite assets and the whole UE marketplace.
yeah,
So
and just try and stomp Roblox and steal their market share.
yeah, and for those that don't really, they're like, oh, Fortnite, I thought that game was like it died down, or like it's not that okay. Kids play Fortnite, cool. They're getting to play with Unreal. This is Epic setting up the next generation of devs. Like these kids in Fortnite that love the creative scene and coming up with all this stuff are gonna go wild with Unreal Engine, become experts at it. So when they come to like 18, 20 and they want to go into the games industry, they're gonna be going to like game studios and be like, yeah, I know how to use Unreal and just do fucking mad shit with it.
In 3 or 4 years, we're going to get the first real crop of Roblox developers. Then 3 or 4 years after that, we're going to get the first real crop of Fortnite developers.
Yeah, it's
And it's crazy.
it is.
And I'm going to say it now. It might be worth having Fortnite installed just for some of these custom maps that are going to get made.
Yeah, like this is going to be a resurgence for Fortnite, and I think also just I've said it a while back. I said it back when Unreal 5 got announced and some of the stuff they've announced with the launch.
Some of the photorealism show they stowed right at the
Like
beginning.
any studio, like we're going to get to an age where studios, it's very rare that they'll have their own engine. Like they're not going to put the time and resources or money and resources into that when they can just use Unreal. Devs know, like all these new devs are going to learn on Unreal, so it's like they'll be able to come to your game studio and just get going.
And also, if everyone or the majority of people start using Unreal Engine 5, all that's going to do is give Epic more information to improve it and make it better and make it faster and make
More
Unreal
features.
Engine 6 even more powerful.
Yeah. It's a wild time for gaming.
And also, I'm not sure, as someone who's not worked in anti-cheat, but logically, if everyone's on the same engine,
yeah,
anti-cheats are going to be a little bit easier to come up with because the engine's going to be the same. So you can have like a base level anti-cheat that then, like Unreal Engine, can be tweaked to suit your needs. You can tweak that anti-cheat to suit your game.
Yeah.
Instead of fucking Call of Duty building their own engine and being like, oh, look how sick we are, but then not having the resources to also build an anti-cheat to protect it.
It's studios are gonna get, it's just gonna make it easier for devs to come in and get working on your game. Like it's just gonna streamline development. The more people that move to Unreal, the more the whole games industry is gonna become more streamlined. And it's also this, it was proven with Blender. So Blender's open source 3D. It's free to use. Anyone can get it. The industry used to run on Maya. Maya is an expensive piece of software. As a student, you could get it free, but as soon as I finished uni, that software was gone. I wasn't paying the money for it. More people have switched to Blender. Blender's becoming industry standard. Same Unreal. It's free to use. People can jump in and learn. Like these studios on old tools are becoming outdated. The new kids coming through are using the new stuff, the free open source stuff, because it pushes things quicker. But yeah, it's great news for gamers. And hopefully we get some good superhero games out of this.
Oh, don't even.
Give me a
Don't
good
even.
Flash game on Unreal. Conor
Let me
would
just
go.
cut about. Let me just cut about.
Conor would be very
Oh, it'd be
happy.
so good. Oh, it'd be great. I'd lose millions of hours. Give me some kind of MMO Flash game.
Someone
You'll
make it
never
in
see me again.
Fortnite for him.
Yeah. On to some very sad news.
Oh.
In the week, for a lot of people, legend and icon from some part of their life, Lance Reddick very sadly and suddenly passed away.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was natural causes, despite how quickly it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, all that was reported was he died of natural causes suddenly. I mean, for me, that says died in his sleep or had a heart attack or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sad time, and it's people will know him from a lot of different things. He played a very big part in Destiny, and as someone who's been playing a lot of Destiny too, when that news broke, like yeah, I went to the tower in Destiny where his character stands, and there was people just stood saluting, emoting, sat in front of him. Like people were in the Destiny community, especially outpour of people going to where his character was and paying their respects in that way.
Well, he's done a lot of voice acting in games, hasn't he? So like
He has.
gamers from all across the fucking communities have just all come together to go, this fucking so because he's like, don't get me wrong, he was a very good actor, but he did a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, he's done like work across the board. And it's like
Yeah, so much.
For an example of something recently, we talked about Vox Machina. We covered that on this. He was the voice of Fordak. So Critical Role did tweets about like how great he was to work with in that and stuff, and like it's wild that he's gone, and it's not like he was overly old. Like he had
60.
plenty of years. Yeah, he had loads of years
Same
of his
age as my
career
dad.
left. So yeah, it's a very sad loss amongst the gaming community, amongst the film community, amongst TV.
Well, I mean, yeah, it
and
was a huge part of the John Wick films as well.
Yeah. So
it's really crazy, and like the day before, he was online playing Destiny.
Yeah, like there was no indication of like anything.
And despite being a very well respected actor, he what a lot of actors did up until recently was they kind of looked down on anything video game related. Not him. He fucking loved it because he loved video games as well. He was like, "This is a brilliant new way to tell a story. Get me in."
Yeah.
And it's so sad and came out of nowhere. And obviously just yeah, it's a lot.
It is. But the show must go on.
The show must go on, indeed.